In the work I do, I deal with a lot of acronyms. I've got DORA, I've got NIS2, I've got TPRM, I've got ICT, etc., etc., etc. However, a new acronym came my way very recently, and it's GNSS, which is Global Navigation Satellite System. It's kind of like the banner label for things like GPS, with which we are probably a bit more familiar. Now, you might be wondering, why is somebody like Anne, who does risk and regulation in financial services, concerned with GNSS and GPS? Well, turns out that GNSS and GPS, they're the mechanisms by which we get time. And if, like me, you hadn't really thought much about time or where time comes from, well, the best thing I can tell you is you're not alone. The worst thing I can tell you is it's not good that we're not thinking about time. We really are taking time for granted, and time, if it goes wrong, could wreak havoc. A question for you to bring back to your organization is to wonder, not in a philosophical way, but in a very pragmatic, down-to-earth, concrete way, who in our organization cares about time? Who's accountable for time? Who would be responsible if time were to break? Because the thing about GNSS and GPS is that it's susceptible to jamming and spoofing, and adversaries could wreak havoc by doing things like that. And my sense is that in the industry, rare, if any, are the risk registers that might have an entry related to time. Rare, if any, are the risk assessments that might have a mention of resilient time. Question for you: who in your organization is responsible for time? And corollary to that, if time isn't really the remit of anybody in particular, the meta question here is, what's going wrong in the organization that the processes that are normally meant to do scanning for risks and identification of dependencies and supply chain contingencies, if time isn't appearing on your dependency maps, and if it isn't appearing in your supply chain as a thing to be managed, that's a question you might want to answer.